Welcome to part 2 of this series where we're looking at suburbs under 600,000 in Melbourne. In part 1, we saw a couple of regions which have opportunities under 600,000, and today we're going to deep dive into more areas to see if there are opportunities in these regions or not. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jathu. I'm a buyer's agent for property investors, and I buy properties all around the country using a data-driven approach. So if you want to work with me, go to my website, Property Framework, buyersagency.com.au, and book a session with me there. Now, before starting off this video, I want to emphasize that while Melbourne is undervalued, if you're after short-term growth within the next 12 to 18 months, you probably aren't going to get much growth in Melbourne. So if you need that short-term growth, Melbourne isn't the best market for you. There are other markets out there. Why we're looking at Melbourne is because Melbourne is undervalued, and it does have that opportunity over the medium term, over that 5 to 7 year period. There is opportunity in Melbourne. So having said that, let's get into the first area, and that's going to be the Frankston City Council. So in Frankston City Council, there's only one suburb where we can still buy under 600,000, and that's the suburb of Frankston North. So Frankston North is located 53 kilometers southeast of the Melbourne CBD. It is in close proximity to the beaches of Frankston Beach, Seaford Beach and Carrum Beach. Frankston North is a lower social area and it does have a bit of stigma around it, but nevertheless, the numbers are starting to slightly look good in this area. And you should take note that Frankston is actually surrounded by more expensive suburbs like Seaford, Carrum Downs, Frankston, Langwarrin and Skye. And while it's away from the CBD, about 50 kilometers away from the CBD, most of the population, about 60%, live and work in the Frankston region and the surrounding area. So they don't have to travel all the way to the CBD for work. Now, let's look at the unemployment rate in Frankston. And that is around 4%, so it's very healthy. The job market in the region is very healthy. Affordability for Frankston North is anywhere between 40 to 45 years, so slightly stretched and on the higher side. And we have to take note that Frankston North is a area that has a lot of renters, so we want to avoid the high renter pockets. So if you look at this map here, the brown areas where we see high renters and low owner occupiers, for example, only 38%, 39%, 36% in that center, I would avoid pockets like that with low owner occupier levels and high renter levels, right? I would buy in the more owner occupier areas of Frankston North. Now let's look at the postcode 3200, which is Frankston North. They're saying that the Stockholm market has increased between 24 and 25. The Doveton market is fairly steady. It's fluctuating between 25 and 27 days. If you look at the properties sold or the sales volume, that has been increasing over the past year, and the median value has remained pretty much the same over the last year. To summarize Frankston North, we're seeing Doveton market steady, and while the sales volume have increased over the last year, Stockholm market also has increased, which means that the market is going to be stagnant over the next few months. Having said that, there might be more opportunities coming up here when the demand increases, for example, when there is an interest rate cut. Okay, so what can you buy in Frankston North? You can buy these old styled homes on decent blocks of land. So this one is a 549 meter square block of land. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, and it recently sold for 591,000. As a bonus, it also had subdivision potential. Let's move on to the second region, which is the Casey City Council. And again, there's only one suburb here where you can buy under 600,000, and that's the suburb of Doveton. So Doveton is located 35 kilometers southeast of Melbourne. Again, it's a lower social area like the other areas we've seen. If you look at the unemployment rate in the city of Casey, it's sitting around that 4.5%, so fairly healthy. Affordability for Doveton is stretched, sitting between 40 to 45 years. Now again, Doveton is an area where there are certain pockets with higher renters. So if you look at the pockets in the south, the brown areas which have higher renter levels and low owner occupier levels, for example, 26% owner occupier, 30% owner occupier, 39% owner occupier, I would try to avoid those pockets and buy in the owner occupier pockets in the north of the suburb. Looking at the market pressure for 3177, we can see the stock on market has increased between 24 and 25. The days on market has been fairly steady at around 25 days. Just a slight increase for September that could have just been an anomaly where one property looked longer to sell. But in general, I feel that the days on market here is quite steady. If you look at the number of properties sold, the sales volumes has been declining over the past year. So sales activity is reducing and the median value, not much of a change, just a slight uptick, but nothing really significant. To summarize Doveton, we are seeing that the days on market is steady. The stock on market has increased and the sales volumes have decreased. So again, this is a market that's going to be stagnant for the next few months, and it's going to be some time before prices recover and start moving up. But one should just keep on monitoring this market because there is potential for recovery over the next few months. So what can you buy in Doveton? So this house, 590,000, 3-bed, 1-bath on a 780 meter square. So again, an older style house on a big block of land. Okay, now we move to the third region, which is in the Cardinia Shire, and we're looking at Pakenham. So Pakenham is 61 kilometers from Melbourne CBD. So a fair distance away from the Melbourne CBD, but it has good connectivity. You can go by train from Pakenham to Melbourne in about 40 minutes and about 52 minutes by car on a day where there's less traffic. Okay, but there is recent projects involving road and rail connectivity, which is improving the connectivity of Pakenham to the CBD. So there are projects that are underway and that will improve the connectivity. So Pakenham, unlike the other areas, has better socio-demographics. So it's an area with a higher earn. And if you look at the unemployment rates, we can see that it's sitting at 3.6% for Cardinia Shire, so that's very healthy. If you look at where the workers in that region work, we're seeing that about 32% work in Cardinia, 14% work in the nearby Casey, and then about 11% work in Greater Dandenong. So about 60% do work around the area, and only about 5% work in Melbourne. So they are not reliant on the Melbourne CBD to get to work or for work. If you look at affordability in Pakenham, it's sitting at 40, so that's pretty good. And now let's look at the market pressure. So postcode 3810, we do see that very slight increase in the stock on market between 24 and 25. The days on market has just slightly increased, and the property sold, the sales volume has increased over the past year. And then if you look at the median value, again, nothing much, hardly a change in the median value. So if summarize Pakenham, days on market is steady, and while the sales volume has gone up slightly, we're also seeing that slight increase on that stock on market, which means that prices will just remain stagnant for the next few months before they start improving. So what can you buy in Pakenham? Again, an old style home. This one is worth 595,000. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath on a 517 meter square block. Now let's move to the next region. We're moving to the southwest of Melbourne in Wyndham Vale. So we're going to look at two suburbs in the Wyndham Vale region, which is Hoppers Crossing and Werribee. Now in that Wyndham Vale region, there's going to be a lot of population move, a lot of population forecasted for that region. At the same time, there's also very high supply of new houses coming in, especially in areas like Truganina and Tarneit, where new houses are going to be built. So you have to take note of that point. Now, if you look at the unemployment rate in the city of Wyndham, we're looking at around 4, just about 4%, which is very healthy. And let's move to the suburb of Werribee. So Werribee, if you look at that suburb of Werribee, on the west side, you'll see that it has more newer homes. And on the east side, you'll see the established area with older homes, right? Again, Werribee is a good social area. It's an area with a good owner-occupier appeal. If you look at the affordability, the next one, that's excellent. Just about 30 years. So at this price point, having this affordability is excellent. So which means that the local residents can easily manage the mortgage repayments in Werribee. Now let's look at the market pressure in Werribee. Stock on market has gradually been increasing between 24 and 25. Days on market also has been increasing. So seeing 30 days and it has become 38 days by the end of the year. Yes, sales volume has increased, number of properties sold has increased, but the median value, yes, hardly any change in that median value. So to summarize Werribee, yes, we're seeing that increase in that sales volume, but because the stock on market has increased and the days on market has increased, I would say that this Werribee market hasn't recovered yet. It might be a while before prices recover and that decline stops and there is positive price pressure in that region. Okay, now let's look at the second region, which is Hoppers Crossing. Affordability in Hoppers Crossing is around 40 years. We're seeing again that stock on market has slightly increased between 24-25. Days on market again has been increasing over the past year. The number of properties sold, the sales volume has increased, so that's a positive sign. However, the median price hardly any change, so it has been stagnant. So while the sales volume has increased, more properties have been sold. Since the stock on market has increased and the days on market has increased, that means that this market is going to be stagnant. There's not going to be much price pressure in this market over the next few months. So what can you buy here in these suburbs? This is a home which recently sold for $585,000. It's a 529 meter square block on a 3-bed 1-bath. So we're looking at an older style home built in the 80s and 90s. Okay, and finally, let's look at our last region, which is the region of Melton. So Melton is about 45 kilometers from the CBD. However, it has good connectivity into Melbourne by train and by road. Okay, again, this area has plenty of new homes that are going to be built in that Rockbank Cottrell region. So that's something that you have to be aware of. There are some good infrastructure projects coming into the Melton region. For example, the new hospital that's going to be built there that will complete in 2029. That will create a lot of job opportunities in that region. And also things like the train station, Melton train station is going to be upgraded, okay? On top of that, the infrastructure in that region is going to be improved over the years as more and more people come into that region. Okay, now we're going to look at the suburb of Melton West. The affordability in Melton West, that's excellent, sitting at 30 years, which means that it's very, very affordable for its local residents. If you look at the stock on market for 3337, we're seeing that stock has actually slightly declined between 24 and 25. We're seeing days on market reducing from 34 to about 29 days. The property sold or the sales volume has increased over the last year, and they're seeing that the median price hasn't really changed much. It's been more or less stagnant, right? Where if you summarize Melton West, what we're seeing is stock on market has reduced, days on market has reduced, and the sales volumes have increased. And on top of that, affordability is very strong in that region. These are signs showing that this market has recovered, and there could be price growth over the next 12 to 18 months. So there could be fairly positive price growth in this region, and it might be a good time to start buying here. So what can you buy in Melton West? So this is a home that recently sold for $517,000. It's a 3-bed 1-bath on a 732 meter square block. So again, an older home on a big block of land. So that's it, the summary of the suburbs around Melbourne, where you can still find properties for under 600,000. As you can see, some of these markets are quite stagnant and haven't recovered, while some of them there might be some opportunities showing up. So I hope you guys found value from this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe into my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.